this video, I will be ranking 45 Amouage perfumes that are in my collection or that I have samples of. This will be a long video, so with no further ado, let's get into it. In last place, at number 45, we have Reasons. A couple things to note before I start this video. Amouage doesn't really make a bad perfume. I'm not going to rate these in terms of numbers, but I like each of these perfumes very much. The second thing is that I have not smelled every Amouage, and I also have not tested a lot of Amouages thoroughly. There are another 15 or so Amouages that I have smelled that I didn't have enough experience with, and therefore I didn't put it on the list. So getting into number 45, which is our bottom spot, this is Amouage Reasons. Reasons is very unique and it's very difficult to describe. The main notes and accords I'm getting in here are different woods. I'm getting Palo Santo, cedar, sandalwood, a plethora of different woods that are coming together, but those are paired with some nutty and sweet warm spices. At its core, Reasons is a woody and sweet spicy perfume. Take something like Emporio Armani's Stronger With You, make it a lot higher quality, less cloyingly sweet, and much better blended, and that's a similar vibe of what I get with Reasons. Reasons has this nice hazelnut, or maybe it's walnut, I'm not really sure which one, but it gives a slightly dark and bitter edge, and of course provides some nuttiness. There's cinnamon in here, which is spicy and inviting, and the woods in here smell very natural and clean. There's nothing inherently wrong about this perfume, it's just so average. It's not insanely unique to where people would turn their heads if they smelled it, and it's also not such a good smell that people are just instantly in love with it. Therefore, although this is a great perfume, Reasons is at number 45. Actually, before I put this away, I do get two weird things. It smells almost like baking bread or yeast. I think it may be coming from some of the wood, maybe Palo Santo, but there's something a little bit sour in here that does remind me of bread batter. At the number 44 spot, this is Search. And don't get me wrong, Search is a great perfume, but it's so realistically citrusy that it's almost too much for me. Now, I do enjoy the smell of lemons, but this smells insanely realistic. So realistic to the point where people may think that you spilled lemon juice on yourself. Now, I don't love that aspect of this perfume, but luckily in the dry down, this completely evolves. The cade oil in here becomes very dark and smoky. And I'm talking smoky like ashy. This smells burnt, this smells charred. And the Hojari frankincense in here adds a very nice green and citrusy feel as well. Although this is at the bottom of the list, I want to say a couple things. First of all, I'm not the biggest fan of citrus in perfumes, but also this is probably my favorite citrus perfume of all time. It's fresh enough for summer and it's also heavy enough to cut through those cold winter nights. This really is a perfect year-round scent, and 44th place is Amouage's Search. Before I get to the number 43 spot, I also want to say a couple more things. First of all, this list will change. It'll probably change the second I'm done filming this video. Take this list with a grain of salt. Understand that everyone has different tastes, and understand that in a couple months, when I get some more Amouage perfumes, my list will probably be completely different. With that being said, in number 43, we have Honor Man. Look at that bottle. This is such an elegant bottle, and it's an elegant bottle for an elegant perfume. I do want to let you know, besides Reasons, I think everything else on here is at least a 9 out of 10. It goes to show not only the complexity of the brand, but also just how high quality the ingredients are. Honor Man is all about the pepper. It's black peppercorn, it's pink peppercorn. This is the greatest peppercorn perfume of all time. That peppercorn is mixed with this sweet and chewy LME resin. That is kind of the extent to this perfume. That's not really an issue though. I know some people get some other stuff like patchouli or incense. I really don't. I just get black pepper, pink pepper, and LME resin. Now I do want to say that this combination is gorgeous. It's addictive, it's smooth, it's clean, it's fresh, it's versatile. It's almost refreshing in the way that black pepper shower gel can be. The only issue with this is that I really only get those two notes. I get the pepper and I get the LME. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I do go to Amouage for the complexity, and that's not saying that this isn't a complex perfume, but compared to some of the others on this list, this is a little bit more basic. With that being said though, I love pepper, and this is the best pepper perfume in the entire world. I've just never seen another perfume balance fresh spiciness with sweetness so well. Number 43 is Honor Man. At number 42, we have Material. I have a big 10 ml decan of this. This is the first perfume from the women's line on the list. I also want to note that a decent amount of these are women's perfumes. I'll tell you whether it's for men or for women. So far, all the other ones have been either for men or unisex, but not a singular perfume, not only from Amouage, but in the world is feminine or masculine. Anything can be worn by anyone, anytime. Material is Amouage's take on an amber perfume. I know Amouage has a lot of ambers, but this is pure amber. Material is pretty much just every resin mixed with vanilla, patchouli, and incense. So it has labdanum, it has elemi, it has olibanum, I think it has a popanax, it has pretty much every resin you can think of. This is often compared to Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Grand Soir, and I kind of see where people are coming from, but not entirely. Obviously, they both have an overdose of vanilla and resins. However, I do think this is done better. But I have two main issues with this perfume. Number one is performance. It seems to last about 3 or 4 hours on me and disappears very quickly in the air. And number two, with the scent profile itself, something about the resins, and I think it's labdanum because I always seem to have an issue with the labdanum, comes off sour. And with the sourness of the labdanum, combined with the vanilla, the incense, the patchouli, and the other notes, keep getting a plant-based chocolate protein powder note. I used to drink protein smoothies all the time, so I'm very familiar with that scent. It's not necessarily a bad smell, but I don't really want to smell like that. Plant-based protein powder is a little bit artificial. It smells a little bit off. That's kind of what material smells like to me, but it's still very pretty in the air. If you like deep ambery vanillas, then this is going to be a great option for you. Number 41 is Amouage's Opus 5 or Wood Symphony. This is the only perfume that I've ever sold from the brand. I'm going to go pretty quickly with Wood Symphony just because I don't have the bottle, so I don't want to bore you with just the words. It's a very dry perfume in the way that concrete is dry. It's oracey, it's chalky, it's powdery, it's very lightly animalic, and has some slightly feminine florals such as rose and jasmine. It dries down with some civet and some oud. Somehow the overall perfume is very tame, very moderate in terms of sillage and projection. For what it is and what's promising to be, it really falls short in my opinion. At number 40, we have Amouage's Lineage. This is another women's perfume, and another perfume that does not smell feminine in the slightest. Lineage is one of the oddest and most unique perfumes on earth. It's an overdose of spices and resins, but somehow it comes off very inky, salty, and aquatic to my nose. I truthfully can't tell you what note or accord is giving that association, but what this smells like, and listen, I know this is a weird description, it smells like if you got swept out at sea on a cold, misty, and rainy night, and somehow, just somehow, in the middle of the ocean, when it's pitch black, you float through a spice market. I know that makes no sense, but that's what this smells like to me. It's so salty, it's inky, it's almost briny, but there's so much spice. It almost smells like it could be toxic. It's almost like a chili pepper spice though, not like cumin or paprika. So for that reason, this combination is very weird. I like it, but you really have to be in the right mood to wear this. Lineage is one that I think I'll get a bottle of sometime, just because it's so unique and I like to smell it. But I do acknowledge that I probably wouldn't wear it too often. If you're into artistic and weird smelling perfumes, Lineage is an amazing one to check out. Next up, at number 39, we have the Cecile Zaroki and the Hypebeast Outlands. Now, Outlands is one that I absolutely could not stand at first. And by at first, I mean over the last year. I've been smelling it over and over and over again, and I still can't really decide where I'm at with this. And what I mean by that is that I really do enjoy the scent. I just don't know if I would ever purchase a bottle. Everyone talks about how it's heavy and it's dense, it's spicy and it's woody. I don't really get any of that besides the sweetness. I get this very honeyed, oaky sweetness. And don't get me wrong, it smells great. It's just so much. And for someone like me saying that, then you know it's a little bit too much. I'm someone that does not mind wearing Royal Tobacco, Silver Oud, and King Blue in the summer. But Allen's is so much that I wouldn't go more than 2 sprays ever. Maybe that's just me. I don't know what it is. This is one of the only times that a perfume is so much, it's so intense, that even though it smells great, I think I may be fine just owning a sample of it. If someone's ever selling a low partial, maybe I'll pick it up in the future. But this is not on my immediate buy list of Amouage perfumes. It smells like that cereal O's. It's like the sugar honeyed cereal. And I think my issue is that the sweetness, the honey thing, the vanilla, whatever that is that I'm getting so strongly is overshadowing every other note in this perfume. I keep trying to get the woodiness, the oud, the spiciness. I'm trying to get the resins, the patchouli. I'm trying to get all the other notes, but I can't because that sweet honeyed thing just keeps overpowering it. With each wear, I enjoy this more and more. So maybe once I finish this sample, maybe I'll get another sample. I may come around and begin to love the perfume. At the number 38 spot, we have a very classic, clean, and sophisticated perfume from Amouage, and this is Reflection Man. Reflection Man is another very hyped up perfume from the brand. It took me over a year to not only understand but also enjoy. Before I get into the scent profile with this, I want to talk about my experience with perfume and how I got into perfumery. I'm only 18 years old, and in 2014, I was introduced to niche perfumery from my dad. And at the time, at 7 years old, what I was smelling was a lot of the older Amouages. I was smelling zoologists, and all the perfumes that I had smelled at the time, all the perfumes that my dad was sampling, they were all heavier, they were more dense, animalic, vanillic, resinous, Middle Eastern, spicy, and for that reason, I've always been accustomed to that type of scent profile. About 2 years ago, when I really got into perfumery, I started buying bottles, making videos, posting my collections, getting into Facebook groups. My favorite scents were already the ones that most people have trouble with. Zoologist Camel, Amouage Interlude, stuff like that was stuff that I was used to, stuff that I could not get enough of. And when I started exploring, niche, designer, all these perfumes, that's when I really got my first experience with real fresh perfumes. I actually struggle more with fresh fragrances than I do with the oriental, the animalics, and the spicy fragrances. That's not saying that Reflection Man was harder for me to wear than something like Intuitive Man, but the neroli, the white florals, the woodiness, the freshness, was something so foreign to me that I was actually struggling with it a little bit. It's almost as if I was wired to enjoy the oriental and the spicy deep dark perfumes, and therefore when I really got into sampling some of the more fresh perfumes, I had much more trouble with it. A lot of them either smelled the same to me, smelled synthetic, or I just could not grasp the idea of ever wanting to smell like it. Now, obviously, this was over 2 years ago. I've had lots of experience. I own many bottles of some of the best fresh fragrances on earth, but only recently could I really understand and appreciate Reflection Man. It is a soapy, clean, white floral perfume with a beautiful dry down of sandalwood and some resins. You need to be a big fan of neroli. Neroli is one of the hardest notes for me to enjoy in perfume. I don't know why, it shouldn't really be, but it is, and sometimes I still struggle to get over that neroli opening. With that being said, Reflection Man is at number 38.